5 million years ago, there were no names, no roads, no cities. Only wild nature, jungles, fear, and instincts. Back then, no one recorded history. But today we try to tell it through the story of one being. We tell the story of everyone. This is the story of Ku, a human ancestor. Not quite human, not quite ape. Something in between, ancient and wild. The morning sun rose over dense forests, now in East Africa. But back then, it was an endless expanse of green. Life thrived here, but so did danger. Karoo woke on the highest branches of a fig tree, clutching a branch with long arms. His body was still warm from the night. Beside him, his younger sister Nana stirred, blinking in the soft sunlight. The band of 13 slowly came to life. Grunts echoed. Young ones clung to mothers, elders stretched stiff limbs. They were a family, not as we know it today, but bound by survival. Karoo was only 17 seasons old. By ape standards, he was grown, lean, swift, clever. His eyes were sharp, always watching, always sensing. His jaw was heavy, brows thick. But behind that face burned a growing spark. A hint of curiosity. The jungle was never silent. Every sound meant something. A bird's high cry. All clear. Sudden cricket silence. Danger. Karoo learned this as a child, the day his father was killed. He was 6 then. His father, a mighty silverback, went for water. Moments later, a striped predator, a saber-toothed cat, leapt from the shadows. Blood, screams, then silence. From that day, Karoo never trusted the ground. That morning, as the band descended for fruit, Karoo paused. He sniffed the air. Something was off. The air was still, heavy. He froze. His fingers gripped the bark. He let out a deep, low warning sound. The others listened. Toma, a young male, stopped swinging through branches and looked up. Mothers gathered their young. Elders climbed higher. Karoo leapt to a lower branch and peered through the leaves. Then he saw it, a large shadow moving in the undergrowth. Not a predator, but something else. Bigger, stranger. A massive hairless creature emerged, gray-skinned with 2 horns on its head. It snorted, kicking up dust. A prehistoric rhinoceros, a beast of immense power. Tama was too close. He'd wandered toward the water, unaware. The beast saw him, lowered its head, and charged. It happened in seconds. Karoo didn't think. He roared, leapt from the branch, and grabbed a nearby stone on the way. He hit the ground, ran, and hurled the stone with all his strength into the beast's eye. The stone struck true. The beast screamed, skidded, and stopped, bleeding, confused. Karoo raised both arms, roared, and beat his chest. The others followed. A wall of sound shook the jungle. The beast turned and vanished into the trees. Silence fell, then awed reverence. The band had seen much, but this was different. Karoo didn't just scream or flee, he fought. He used something, a stone, a weapon. That night, they gathered in the trees, higher than usual. Safe. Watching the sunset, Karoo held the stone, touching it, rubbing its edge. For the first time he thought, this helped me. Not instinct, but thought. The beginning. Weeks passed. The rain stopped. The earth cracked. Leaves curled and died. Water became precious. The band moved east, chasing clouds, eating bitter roots, surviving on insects. Nana cried each night, thirsty, weakening. Old Bafo stopped moving. His eyes were empty. He awaited death. Then the vultures came. Karoo saw them circling above, great birds of death. He followed their shadows across the plain. Over a hill, he found it. A freshly killed antelope. Nearby, lions rested, bellies full. They'd had their fill. Karoo's heart pounded. He crept closer, grabbed a leg of the carcass, and pulled. The lions stirred. He didn't wait. He ran, dragging the meat. A roar sounded. One lion gave chase but stopped after a few strides. Karoo vanished into the trees. That night, for the first time in their history, the band ate meat. Slowly, cautiously, then greedily. The taste changed them. The bones were thick, strong. Karoo took one. A club. He struck it against a tree. A loud crack rang out. A tool. The idea returned. What if I use this, not just hold it? With new strength came tragedy. Nena, still weak from thirst, lost her balance climbing a tree. She fell. The band gathered around her still body. Her small chest didn't rise, her eyes didn't open. Karoo touched her, whimpered, pushed. No response. He'd never truly grasped it. The end of breath, the stillness, the finality of death. That night, they didn't eat or move. They sat around her body in silence. Karoo let out a long, low moan, a sound of grief. One by one, the others joined. It wasn't language, but it was sorrow. It was memory. The next morning, they left her under the tree, but not without covering her with leaves. A primitive burial, an ancient ritual. They were no longer just animals. They were becoming something else, something that remembered. 3 weeks later, a storm broke. Lightning lit the dark sky, thunder shook the earth. Karoo and his band watched from the treetops, clinging to branches as the wind howled. Then, lightning struck a tree. Fire. Bright, terrifying fire. The band screamed and fled, but Karoo stayed. He stared at the burning tree. The smell, the heat, frightened him, yet drew him in. On the ground lay a dead rabbit, roasted by the flames. He waited until the fire moved. Then he climbed down, sniffed the meat, and licked it. It was tastier, softer, easier. The others watched as he ate. Curious, they joined him. Fire became more than fear. It was food, safety, power. They couldn't control it yet, but they no longer ran from it. Karoo added something new to their world. Fire. As the dry season worsened and fruiting forests died, the band had to move. But this time, it wasn't aimless wandering. Karoo led them. They trusted him now, not because he was the strongest, but because he saw what others didn't. He remembered where water once flowed, where fruit trees still grew, where predators lurked. Each morning, he climbed the tallest tree to scan the horizon. Each night, the band followed his signals. Right hand raised. Move. 2 grunts. Danger ahead. Chest thump. Stay together. Not words, but communication. Karoo became more than a band member. He was becoming a leader. On the 7th day of migration, they reached new lands, plains with tall, golden grass. Food was plentiful, so were insects. The band relaxed, let their guard down, and then it happened. A rustle, a growl, then chaos. From the tall grass sprang a pack of ancient hyenas, larger, stronger, fiercer than modern ones. The band scattered. A mother screamed as a hyena seized her young by the leg. Karoo turned. He had his club, a bone he'd carried for days, thick, solid. He charged the hyena, roared, and struck. The first blow broke its jaw. The second crushed a leg. Blood sprayed. The other hyenas froze. This prey fought back. Karoo didn't stop. He shouted, advanced, swung the club. His tribe followed. A wave of sound and fury. The hyenas fled. The mother reclaimed her young, injured but alive. This wasn't chance. It wasn't instinct. It was courage, strategy, protection. The band stared at Karoo wide-eyed. He'd saved one of them, not just with strength, but with purpose. That night they gave him something no creature had ever received. A circle. They sat around him, heads slightly bowed, touching his hands. Not a crown, but respect. That night, they settled near a great cave Karoo had found on a lone scout. The cave was cold, dark, but safe. Inside lay old bones of long-dead creatures. Some looked like spears. Karoo picked one up, ran his fingers along its jagged edge. An idea struck. Could he sharpen it? Could a bone pierce like a tooth? He rubbed it against a rock, over and over, for hours. By dawn, he'd created something new. A blade. The first weapon not found, but made. The dawn of tools. He used it to strip bark, open fruit faster, even skin a dead bird. The others watched, clumsily mimicking at first, but they learned. Within weeks, The band had blades, stones, clubs, for food, defense, identity. Karoo was no longer just a leader. He was a teacher, and that changed everything. One day, climbing a tree, Karoo saw smoke in the distance. He followed it alone. He reached a clearing where lightning had struck weeks before. Under the sun, a fallen branch still smoldered. Karoo approached cautiously. He remembered the roasted rabbit. This time, he didn't wait. He grabbed a long stick and thrust it into the embers. It caught fire. He stepped back, startled, then awed. He reached out, watching the flames dance. He thrust another stick, then another. Now there were 3 flames. He ran back to the cave with the burning branch. The band panicked, screamed. Fire was death to them. But Karoo placed it in the cave's center. He fed it leaves, watched it grow, but kept it controlled. Slowly, one by one, the others drew near. That night, they didn't sleep in trees. They slept in the cave by the fire. For the first time in Earth's history, the night wasn't swallowed by darkness. Weeks passed. The band grew stronger, smarter. They built a routine: nightly fire, daily scouts, shared grooming, food division, a kind of order. Then, one evening, as Karoo sharpened a stone knife at the cave's entrance, he felt something. Not danger, not an animal, but something else. From the shadows, 2 eyes watched him. Like his but different, curious, intelligent. Another hominid, a stranger, not from their band. He stepped forward. Karoo froze. The stranger made a sound Karoo didn't know. They stared, mirroring movements. Then the stranger offered a piece of fruit. Karoo took it. Peace, a sign of something bigger, other tribes, other families, perhaps the first hints of community beyond blood ties. That night, the stranger sat by their fire. A new chapter began. The monsoons returned. Rain poured for days. The river swelled. The cave risked flooding. Trees fell. Food grew scarce again. Karoo knew they couldn't stay. The land had given all it could. A choice loomed. One path led deeper into the forest, safe, familiar, but empty. The other crossed the river, unknown, dangerous, but full of promise. The band looked to Karoo. He hesitated, thinking of Nana, the saber-tooth, the fire, the blade, the stranger. Then he stood tall and thumped his chest once. They all followed. Crossing the river was hard. They lost old Bufo, swept away by the current, but the rest survived. On the other side were green valleys, new trees, fruit, life. They made it. A new beginning. Years passed. Karoo aged, his hair grayed, his steps slowed, but the fire in his heart didn't fade. He watched the young climb trees with blades in hand, roast fruit, repeat his signals. He smiled. One evening, he went alone to a cliff's edge, his favorite spot to watch the stars. He sat and looked up. The sky hadn't changed in 5 million years, but he had, and through him, everything would. As the wind blew and stars flickered, Karoo let out a soft moan, not of fear or pain, but of peace. The next morning, they found him there, still sitting, eyes closed, facing the sky. He returned to the earth. But his story, our story, had just begun. Before we were human, before we learned to write, speak, build towers that touch the sky, there was Ku, a creature of flesh and instinct who learned to fight, feel, grieve, lead, think, hope. He never knew your name, but you know his story, because his blood runs in your veins, your hands, your mind, your heart. The journey of 1,000 generations began with one idea. What if I change something? With that thought, we became human.